Good day, and thank you for tuning in to our weekly reopening update. As the daily COVID figures continue to rise nationwide, concerns, questions, and frustrations continue to bloom from parents and teachers regarding reopening schools, many asking the simple question, so why reopen anyway? There are many reasons that we've heard and much pressure by governmental, educational, and medical institutions to bring students and teachers back to in-person learning on site. The American Pediatric Association takes the position that both the physical and emotional well-being of our young people depends on the opportunity they have to interact with other people. Most educational institutions call last year's distance learning experiment a failure, citing the really uneven ways in which education was delivered and the consequent loss of critical learning for most young people. The government, for its part, is eager to normalize the economy by getting working folks back to work rather than supervising their children at home during distance learning. And the threatened loss of federal funds to schools that do not reopen provides even greater pressure. As eager as all of these institutions are to reopen school campuses, parents trying to make decisions for their children are plagued with questions and worried about making the right decision for their kids. The survey that I sent to AHN parents this past week really verified the national anxiety. While the majority of parents indicated that their daughters would be returning to in-person instruction in September, many others indicated hesitation, most concerns based on issues related to, number one, health, screenings, homesick, and return to school policies. Number two, transportation. What are the school bus schedules and protocols? Three, compliance. Will our adolescents cooperate with the new protocols enough to mitigate the possibility of outbreaks? Four, questions about quality of education by distance learning or even by wearing masks in a physically distanced classroom. And five, concerns about sports and activities. Will we have sports? How will we have an effective activities program if we are in hybrid or distance learning mode? Well, these are some of the answers I can provide now, again, with the caveat that guidelines continue to change and they do so really on a daily basis. Number one, screenings. Screenings for temperature and symptoms must and will be taken daily. We are currently vetting screening technologies that will allow students and employees to screen at home before arriving on campus and send that information to us. We will need 100% compliance to assure that those who are experiencing COVID-related symptoms do in fact stay at home. Number two, homesick policies. It's important that students and employees who have symptoms remain at home. So our homesick policies will be strict. Likewise, return to school policies will be strict to assure that those who have tested positive for COVID have recovered and are unlikely to spread the disease when they return to in-person learning. Transportation. Well, on our own school bus, we will of course comply with the Department of Health guidelines regarding face coverings, social distancing, and cleaning and disinfection. However, we have not yet received information from our public school districts, which transport many of our students, on their plans for transporting students to private schools this year, though we have sought that information. We know that CBA is working out its plan for the Northway bus and for the shuttle bus to Holy Names. The concern regarding compliance. We will expect all students, families, and employees to sign a community pledge, indicating a commitment to keeping our school community safe. The level of cooperation that we received last year during our distance learning experience indicates a school-wide understanding of the dangers of this disease and of the necessity of complying with all protocols and rules to keep everyone safe and healthy and to keep school open. In this effort, we look to our families for a partnership. As we approach August, I again ask families to expect your students to practice social distancing and hand hygiene, to practice wearing face coverings, and to limit travel so that we are safe and healthy when we return to in-person learning in September. Concerns about quality of education. You know, at AHN, we are committed to providing a quality educational experience for our students, whether in person, remotely, or in hybrid form. Our track record during last year's distance learning experience speaks for itself, I think, in that regard. That being said, we are fully aware of the challenges in doing so, and we are being very thoughtful in sorting through the many technological tools and instructional strategies that will allow us to serve both those who have chosen in-person learning and those who will be learning remotely from home. Concerns regarding sports and activities. The New York State Public High School Athletic Association, which has authorization over all interscholastic sports in New York State, whether in private or public schools, has delayed the start of the fall sports season for all of us to September 21st, and has canceled championship tournaments for the fall season, awaiting further guidance, of course, from the governor, as we all are. The fate of that season, as well as the winter and spring sports seasons, still remains undefined, though it appears as if athletics will be shorter in season and will probably have overlapping seasons. It also appears that if schools are closed, there will be no athletics. Activities. At Holy Names, we firmly believe that activities are an important and, of course, an enjoyable part of school life. So we're working diligently on the ways in which we can carry them out in the hybrid environment that we're anticipating, and fund them without, of course, the daily bake sale. It's obvious from the results so far on our survey to parents that we will be looking at a hybrid model if the governor allows us to return to in-person learning, a model that will accommodate those students who are comfortable returning to campus and those who would prefer to learn remotely. However, as I have said previously, we have to be ready to transition quickly to remote learning for everyone at any time during the school year that the infection rate rises dangerously, whether it's rising statewide, regionally, or even only within our own school. Be assured that we will continue to communicate with families as we further develop our plans, and will provide opportunities to educate and to train faculty and staff, students, and families well prior to the beginning of the school year. To parents, I thank those of you who have already completed the reopening survey. Over half of you so far, thank you. And ask, if you've not already done so, that you please complete the brief survey that I sent to you yesterday via email. It would really be helpful to us to have a 100% return rate on that survey. I look forward to providing an update to you again next Friday. Please stay safe and healthy in the meantime. Wear your mask and practice the recommended protocols for physical distancing, hand hygiene, and travel. I will see you next week.